Something I really enjoyed about my internship here at Wycliffe was the knowledge that whatever I was doing was helping advance Bible translation around the world, even though I wasn't even translating anything myself, that everything I was doing was helping somehow. And knowing that that purpose was behind it, and knowing that that was the cause that I was working toward, and that was what I was helping accomplish, was very inspirational for me and very much encouraging and motivating for me. It was a huge motivator that knowing what I was doing was helping around the world translators.
I like getting to know people from different positions and areas in Wycliffe, be it presidents or paid staff or members or chiefs or assistants. I like getting to know them and being more comfortable approaching them and them approaching me.
Working with Wycliffe this summer has taught me so much. Where do I begin? I loved being able to do something that I'm really passionate about, and just being able to write with a lot of different people and seeing people with multiple gifts being used and how we can work together to further God's kingdom and be a part of sharing the gospel with people, and just like being able to see community here being lived out really well, and people being really intentional, and just being really well loved and really well cared for, and asked really good questions, and being able to grow together as interns.
Things I liked about my experience at Wycliffe this summer, that I got to work on real hands-on projects, and it's not just like, here, go get us coffee, or here, file this thing, but it's like, oh no, the work that I was doing, at least in marketing, I got to actually see be put in production, or see that it's useful and going to be actually used within the organization. And that was really cool, really rewarding. I also really enjoyed getting to know people and the connections that were formed, both people and interns that I was living with, but coworkers. And it's really encouraging to see that in the Wycliffe workplace, faith and work and life is all really integrated, and I just really enjoyed that.
What I liked about my experience working at Wycliffe was just being able to build relationships here with not just the staff, but also other missionaries that came and spoke with us, and getting to know the other interns here, getting to do all kinds of events together, and having reflection night, just getting to spend time in the Word and learn more about God and what we're doing here and His plan for us here.
I wanted to say two things that I really enjoyed about my internship experience. The first is just living in community, and it's crazy because there's only 7 of us, which is perfect. All of us knew each other really well. We ate dinner together, and even though some of us were on our own for the first time, we weren't really on our own, because everybody bought groceries together and did things together, and that was just a really great way for us to experience Christian community for ourselves. And the second thing that I really enjoyed was the sort of thinking that my job got me to do that was different from school. When I came in, my supervisor didn't just give me a task to spend my time the 8 weeks. It wasn't like a school assignment that I had to finish and had nothing to do with the company itself. But he made me think on a higher level, and he kind of gave me work that was realistic based on what was going on with what he did. So I kind of had to deal with the ebb and flow of kind of not having much to do and having a lot to do, and kind of the stress of the push and pull of that. But I think that's really good for me. It was very realistic for me to experience why Wycliffe does something and go on the higher level thinking about what aligns with the needs of the company.
What I really liked about my internship experience was that it was so much more than just an average internship, or what I pictured to be an internship. I was never treated like just the intern, go do these things these jobs that we don't want to do. Rather, we got to do actual real projects and things that make an impact, which is really important to me, to be able to be a part of work that is more than just little things, but things that actually make an impact. So that was one thing that I really loved. And another thing I really loved about it was that it was just so holistic and focused on personal development in all areas of your life, and emotional life and spiritual and professional and all of that. It wasn't just one category, but rather as a whole.
Millennials are people who right now are young, but will eventually be the older people in a workplace. And so with that our way of thinking and our methods of working will impact the world in the workplace for quite a while. Something we bring, I would say, is conviction of wanting to do something important, that we don't want to do something unimportant in our work, that we want to make a difference. Whatever that difference is for, we need to make a difference. And we don't want everything to just be the same way as it always was. And to improve things and not just leave them as acceptable when something isn't acceptable. But that doesn't mean things have to be changed when they are good. But another thing we bring to the workplace is a lot of connections with people. It seems that we have a lot of networking skills, that knowing people and making those connections with other people that we can connect with.
We're typically ambitious with stars in our eyes and heads full of ideas, and we've been learning for so long and in class for so long, we're ready to be active. We want individual needs met in exchange for heavy contributions of innovation.
As young people, we bring work passion. We have fresh energy, and I think that's just something to be utilized, to have new eyes to see what you're doing for work and to just be able to have joy in it again.
I think it's hard to talk about millennials as a whole, just because it seems like everyone is so different. But I think that my generation is pretty aware of differences and differing opinions, and just being around both our peers and on social media, like hearing from other people and other sources, and just being exposed to a lot of different information causes us to, I guess, be aware of a lot of different perspectives and viewpoints. I think that's valuable, especially in a workplace that's diverse in age, for like our opinions to be heard, since they might be different than other people's. Also, I'd say we're pretty good with technology, pretty tech savvy, and we could help others in the workplace either understand like new apps or technology, but also to just be able to do our work easier, quickly. I think most of us are pretty good at multitasking. I might be just applying that to myself. But I think we're bombarded by a lot of things, so we're good at juggling and adapting to new environments.
I think millennials bring a emphasis on personal development, like we care about growing as individuals when we come to a job. It's not just about the job and the career itself, but we really want to grow and to become better, which is, I think, a really good element that we can bring to a team. I think we also love collaboration and are really good at it, which comes from just advancement in technology. We're more used to collaborating with all different people in different areas, and so we really like that, which can be really useful. And I also think we are tenacious but also optimistic at the same time. So we dream big things, but we're also practical, and sometimes don't take dumb risks to get to those things.
I think that one way Wycliffe can be more millennial friendly is, of course, with the knowledge that your average person isn't going to be interested in serving in Bible translation, that it kind of takes a special person to do that. That the general populace isn't going to have that interest, and that it's kind of a unique kind of millennial who will be interested. So with that being said, the giving us that way of knowing we're making a difference and having that important task, knowing that we're valuable and that we're not just doing something for the sake of doing it, but actually having a reason, is very important. Not that I would ever say I'm not going to do something because there's not I'm not given a reason, but it makes it a lot easier to do and makes us more productive, because when we know why we're doing something, we have that like motivator in us, something that wants to get that accomplished. So.
Wycliffe can be better at asking for feedback. It's one surefire way to get our reaction. Make it anonymous, make it safe. Do it after meetings. Do it whenever it's possible. Also, opening channels, making it so we can connect with whoever whenever it's needed, rather than the structured way that it sometimes can be.
Millennials? I'm a millennial, but we're just people, and we're just the younger generation. We just want to be accepted and seen as people. We don't like to be looked down upon because of our age, and I think that's hard because a lot of older people tend to see younger adults as children and belittle them and say, like, when you get older or when you get wiser, then you'll know what I know and you'll be able to see the world as I see it. But we've already seen so much, and just like it'd be nice to have that experience not denied, which I think Wycliffe does a great job of. But yeah.
Well, as a millennial, I mostly feel that Wycliffe is pretty friendly to me. But I guess a few things that would be interesting to see, at least, is more maybe diversity in a lot of different senses, with like ethnicity, and I think we already have a lot of like denominational diversity, which is really cool. So I think that Wycliffe is already like taking good like steps and like wanting to bring that into the organization. So I'm just looking forward to see how that will turn out in the future, because it's, I guess as a millennial, I'm used to either my cities or my colleges, or both like my social media spheres being pretty diverse and with a whole bunch of people, and I really value those differences. And so I think another way is just, I know that I might, as a millennial, be a lot different than like older generations when it comes to either how I think, my political beliefs, my I guess stance on certain issues, and I think I, for one, don't like to be like looked down on for my opinions, but like to be able to discuss them with people, and for, even though I'm younger, not to be dismissed as like, oh, she just hasn't learned yet, or she doesn't know yet. I haven't necessarily felt that from people, but I feel like it could be an attitude or something that could be picked up on. And another thing is, as a millennial, I may be very like tech savvy, or like messaging or texting, but I really do like face-to-face communication, especially with like projects, and ambiguity is sometimes hard, so it's nice to be able to talk openly and honestly, or just with supervisors, and not always through email. I think that's more of just like trying to figure out the balance between I guess how to work within project management systems and just communicating within a department. And let's see, what else is it? I think that's it.
I think how Wycliffe can become more millennial friendly is that I think it's important to take the perspective of the millennials, because they're the ones living in the age where everything is changing. They know what's going on, they know the trends, they know everything that involves technology. Just getting their perspective on people their age or around their age group is important, and just having the young minds, creative minds, and just mixing both tradition and new together, I think is very important.
So as a youngin', it was really important for me to know that missionaries can be anybody who loves Jesus, no matter where they are in their walk, and that it doesn't have to be one kind of person with a certain spiritual maturity, whatever that looks like. And I just think that being able to show a little bit more of vulnerability and kind of acceptance of sort of where different people are at just helps the work environment kind of be more inviting to different kinds of people, whoever they may be. And just expanding Wycliffe's base to different kinds of churches and ethnicities and stuff like that within the United States. Because I think that Wycliffe can be so much stronger when all the churches in the United States unite behind it in order to reach all the other churches of the world.
I think Wycliffe is pretty millennial friendly as a whole. I've never felt like they weren't millennial friendly, but I think just making sure that opinions of millennials are valued in the same way that opinions of Gen Xers or baby boomers are valued would be a helpful thing to be aware of, to not look down on an opinion just because it's from a millennial, or just like some side comments like, oh, you're just a millennial, you're just young, you don't know. Thinking about it or being told those things aren't really helpful. It's rather degrading, I guess, in some ways. So to be thought of as an equal in terms of thoughts and ideas that you have is, I think, would be good for Wycliffe to focus on. Golden.
Okay. I think the word millennial kind of derives from, I think the word
I'm gonna start that over.
I forgot the last one.
Good, because it's recording.
Students that we start over.